Hey guys, welcome back to another sewing tutorial. So if you are new here, you are welcome, and to my returning subscribers, thank you so much. So for today's tutorial, we are going to be making this beautiful trendy boo gown on your screen. So if this is what interests you, please keep on watching. So I'll be folding my fabric into 4 and I have 3.5 yards of this Ankara print. So I'll be folding it into 4. And the way I'll be folding this is the length of my Ankara is 44 inches and I'm making use of 3.5 inches of this African print. So I first of all fold it into 2. By the side that I have 3.5 yards, like by the yardage, I folded it into 2, and then I'm going to now fold it again into 2 from the side that we have our 45 inches, like the length of the fabric. And I'll be picking it from this place that is closed so that we will not have any joining at the shoulder line. I'll go ahead now to fold it again into 2, making it 4 folds, like we have 4 folds already. So I will now start my measurements. Please, if you don't understand it, please let me know in the comment section so I can be able to explain it better. I'll start taking my measurements right now, and I'll be starting my measurement from this pointy part. I'll be taking my neckline, and the neckline that I'm working with is 4.5 inches. So I'll go ahead now to mark my 4.5 inches. I'll also be taking my shoulder measurements, and I have 7.5 for my shoulder measurements, and I'll go ahead now to mark it out. After that, from that my shoulder line, I will now measure my sleeve length. It depends on what you want, but for this my gown, I'll be going with 12 inches. So I'll go ahead now to mark 12 inches for my sleeve length. After that, the next thing I'll be doing is to mark my front neck length, and I'll be marking 8 inches for my front neck length. And for my back neck length, it's going to be a very deep neckline, so I'll be going with 13 inches. So it depends on what you want. If you want it to be more, like if you want it to be lower, you can go ahead with 14-15 inches, but 13 inches is very okay for me. So I'll go ahead now to mark it, and I'll connect my lines just like you see me doing. I have gone ahead to connect my lines both for the front neckline and the back neckline. And like I said earlier, the front neckline is 8 inches and the back neckline is 13 inches. From the thumbnail, we can see that we have 4 loops at the back. So I'll go ahead now to calculate it, and I'll be taking 3 inches. From my starting line, I'll take 3 inches for my first loop, 3 inches for the second one, 3 inches for the third, and for the fourth. I took 3 inches for the spacing of the loop. We are going to be doing a little calculation so we can be able to know the length of the loop that we are going to be creating. I will place my tape from that my front neckline to the starting point of this my top. I'm going to place my tape, and I will know what I have in between. Then I will write it down. And you know that we have 4 lines that we have marked out. So I'm going to place the tape on the first line, and whatever I have from that my starting line to the place that I marked my neckline, I will write it down. So for this first line, I have 3.5. At this point, my marker is not really writing well, but I'll try as much as possible to make you understand what I'm trying to do here. I tried using my chalk as well, but I don't think it's clear enough. So for the first line, I have 3.5, and the second line, I have 2.5. Then the third line, I have 1.5. Then the last line, I have 1 inch. So I hope this is clear enough. Just calculate what you have from your starting line to the line that you marked already, and yours might be different from my own. Just write what you have. So after I'm done calculating, I'll just go ahead now and keep it aside. So I'll be taking 12 inches for the length of my sleeve. I'll go ahead now to mark it. This is a very free gown and it does not really require a lot of measurements, so I'll just be taking my hip measurements and I'll go ahead now to mark it. I am placing my tape from the starting point of this fabric to take my measurements. I have 9 inches for my hip measurement, and I'll be adding extra 5 inches for allowance. So from this point, the sleeve length, we are going to be curving it just the way we curve our kimono to meet with the 5 inches that we have already marked out. And we're going to take it down to our full length. Since I don't have a long ruler, I'm going to bring what I have at this upper part. I'm going to bring it down to the full length, and I'll mark it out. And I'll just simply use my chalk and trace it out to the full length. The full length I'm going to be working with is 44 inches. That's the full length of my Ankara, so I just have to work with the whole fabric. And at this point here, I'll be adding 1 inch for the folding allowance of the sleeve. After that, I'll go ahead now and cut it out. I'll be adding pockets to this my gown. So this is optional. If you don't want to add pockets, just skip this part. But for this my gown, I'll be adding pockets. So I'll go ahead now to measure 17.5 inches. I'll mark it and I'll give it a notch. I'll go ahead now to cut out my front and my back neckline. And like I said earlier, I use 8 inches for the front neckline and I use 13 inches for the back neckline. After cutting out the front neckline, I'll go ahead now to separate my fabric just like you see me doing, so I can be able to cut out the back neckline. So when doing this, make sure you arrange it very well so that you will not make any mistake. So I'll go ahead now to cut out my back neckline. I'll be using this lining for the facing, and this lining is as long as possible. Like, you're going to have something that is going to be very long because this neckline is so long. So I will place it under the fabric so I can be able to trace out the neckline on my facing. I have this lining folded into two, and the open part is the one that is going to be going inside, the open part, and the closed part is going to be outside. After I was done arranging it, I'll go ahead and secure it down with a pin and then I'll cut it out. So right now, I'm going ahead now to measure back the 33 inches that we measured earlier. So I have already cut out my front neckline and I didn't remember to highlight my lines on my fabric. And this is why I'm going ahead now to do it again. But if you are doing your own, just make sure that when you are marking the neckline, highlight it on your fabric so that even if you cut out the neckline, you will still have the 33 inches on your fabric. But for me, I did not remember to highlight it on my fabric, so I'm going ahead as well to mark it again. So I'll be marking my 33 inches into 4, and after marking it, I'll go ahead and give it a notch, and together we'll be notching it with the lining inside. After that, I'll go ahead and remove the fabric and I'll be working on my lining. I don't want my lining to be too big. I'll go ahead now to reduce it. So from this my neckline, I'll come down by 3 inches and I'll mark it like so. Then this front neckline, I'll also go down by 3 inches. And this my center point, I'll also go ahead and mark 3 inches and I'll connect my lines and I'll cut it out. This is what the neckline is looking like right now. I'll be placing it on my fabric front side facing front. At this point, I noticed that my lining is looking too big, so I'm going ahead now to trim it off a little bit. I'll be marking 33 inches round and I'll go ahead and cut it out. I'll be placing my lining on top of my fabric, front side facing front, and I'll go ahead and pin it down. You should make sure that everything is aligning together, the neckline, the shoulder, everything is aligning before you go ahead and pin it down. And after that, I'll go ahead now to sew up the front neckline, and I'll be doing so with 1/2 inch. And when I get to the back neckline, from the place that I notched, I'll be going down by 1 inch, and I'll be doing so in all the places that I notched earlier. So when I get to the place that I notched, I will go down by 1 inch and continue my stitch. Then when I get to the next notch, I will go down by 1 inch, continue my stitches. So that's how I'll be doing it until I get to the other side of my shoulder. So these places that I highlighted, they are the places I'm going to sew. And as we can see, the 1 inch that I left, I did not mark it. That means I'm not going to sew it. And the ones that I highlighted with my chalk, I'm going to sew those parts close. I hope this is clear enough. After I'm done sewing, this is what it's looking like. And as we can see, we have our 1 inch openings that we left earlier. I didn't sew those parts close. And make sure you give this V part a notch so that it can relax very well. So now we'll be working on our ropes for the back. The first part, we have 3.5 inches. The second part, we have 2.5. Then the third part, we have 1.5, and the last part we have 1 inch. So I'll go ahead now and write it down. I'll be multiplying each of them by 2 plus 1 inch. So for the first step, we have 3.5. So I will times it by 2. And whatever I have, I'll plus 1 inch. So for the second step, we're going to do the same thing. 2.5 times 2. And whatever you have, you plus 1 inch. We repeat this for the third and the last step. So right now, I am done cutting my 4 loops, and the width that I use for this is 2 inches. And when I fold it, I'll be having 1 inch. So the length of this loop is what you have already calculated. You're going to use whatever you have after calculating. You're going to be using it for the length of this loop. I'll go ahead now to fold it into 2 like so, and I'll run a stitch. I'll be doing the same thing in all 4 of them. So after closing it up, this is what I have. I have gone ahead to turn 3 already. I'll be turning this so that you guys will see how I did the others. I use my safety pin to hold one piece of my fabric, and I will insert my safety pin, the one that has my fabric. I will insert it through the hole and I will bring it from the other end. So you can also go ahead and give it a good press. Right now, I'll be inserting my loops in those openings that I have created. So the first one right now, I'll be placing it in between the lining and the fabric. So I'll place it and I'll use my pin to secure it. I'll do the same on the others. So after pinning it down, I'll head over to my sewing machine and I'll stitch it down. And at the other side, I will also be putting it in that 1 inch that we also created. I will be putting it in just like you see me doing, and I'll also secure it with pin. I'll go over to my sewing machine, sew it down, and come back to show you guys what I have. I'll be working on my pockets right now. So I have my fabric folded into 2. I will fold it again, making it 4 folds. I'll go ahead and mark my starting line, and from this starting line I'll go down by 7 inches. After that, I'll be placing my hand in between the 7 inches and the starting line that I have already marked out, and I'll just trace out what I have. I'll be adding some inches. I'll not like trace exactly what I have. I'll add some inches while tracing out my hand. I have 4 pieces for my pockets. After sewing my loops down, this is what it's looking like. So gonna head to iron my lining down with hemming gum, and as you can see right now, it's looking so neat and beautiful. We will start working on our pockets right now. I'll be placing my pocket front side facing front, and I'll be placing it on that place that I notched. So I'll place it and I'll pin it down. I will do the same thing on all the 4 sides, on the front piece and on the back piece. I'll go ahead right now to sew it down with just half an inch. We have almost come to the end of this tutorial. Please, if you have watched up to this point, please give this video a very big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I've gone ahead to fold one side of my sleeve. So I folded it with the 1 inch that we added earlier. I'll be going ahead now to close up the sides, and I'll be using 1 inch. And this is how I'll be sewing it. When I get to my pocket side, I'll stitch it just like you see me doing, and I will continue my stitching all the way down. I will do the same thing on the other side. After I'm done stitching, this is what I have. I'll go ahead now to notch down the armhole area so that it can relax properly. This is how the pocket area is looking like, and I have also gone ahead to close up my hemming part with 1 inch. And this is what the front side is looking like, and this is our pocket, and as you can see, it is looking so beautiful. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead right now and hit on that subscribe button so that you will not miss any of our videos. This is what the finished look is looking like. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and of course I will see you again in the next one. Bye.